Speaker is Joe Lord from the Great Lands of Ottawa. He is going to talk about WebSockets and how to use them well, and a little bit of libraries about using WebSockets. Here he is.
Thank you, Artem. Hello, everyone. It's good to see that there are still some people around. And this works. That's great. All right, so I'm Joel. Let's get started with the obligatory about me, hey, page. But we don't really speak like that in Canada. So I'm a bit of a JavaScript junkie. I really like JavaScript. Whenever I get the occasion to do some code, and I do a little bit less than I used to do, as in more of a manager position right now, but whenever I can, I still try to code in JavaScript mostly. A bit of a thinker. I play with some a little bit of hardware, Arduino stuff, Raspberry Pis, and so on. And I really like technology in general. So I like to learn about it, and then I like to share about it. So for those who were wondering, I'm from Ottawa. Some people were not sure where it was, so here's a small map. So it's a long way. To be fair, I didn't know where Oregon was up until a few months ago, so I won't be obfuscated if you didn't know where it is. You'll also notice that there's a lot of space up there. So depending on the outcome of the next presidential election, you can just move in. OK, so WebSockets. So what's a WebSocket? Let me first start by telling you how I first encountered them. So a long, long time ago, I was doing web development, mostly PHP stuff, about 5 years ago. And I was doing a little bit of JavaScript as well on my front end, just to fetch some data and to display them in tables, because we had table layouts back then. And so it was all about Ajax, and it was really, really cool. But we were trying to still have some synchronization between clients and so on. It was kind of sketchy. It was really hard to do. Well, yeah, not that hard, but it was not perfect. And I was using that software or web application that you probably all know, which is Trello. And I was working in it, and I've realized that one of my coworkers updated one of the cards, and it instantaneously appeared on my desktop as well. So I was kind of curious. So I did whatever a developer would do. So I right-clicked, took a look at the source code, and I've seen that they were using socket.io. And that's where I basically discovered WebSockets, so I started learning about it. It's also when I started using Node a little bit more. So what is it? So WebSocket is a protocol providing full duplex communication channels over a single TCP connection. And it came out somewhere in 2011. So that's the Wikipedia definition. So what is it really? So in a nutshell, what it is that it's a protocol that will create a tunnel between a client and a server. And you can send data through it. And it's full duplex, so it's a bidirectional channel. So you can send data to your clients, and you can also send data to your servers. So in order to better understand, let's look at how we typically do a request to a web server. So you had this HTTP page. You downloaded your main page, and then the user clicks on a button, or clicks on something, or is scrolling, and then reaches a certain threshold. And you do another request to your server, say, hey, server, can I get some of that data that I want to display? And the server goes, sure, here it is. And it sends it back to you. And then you kind of just wait until another interaction happens. The user scrolls down a little bit more. And then, hey, server, can I get some more data? And, yep, sure, just sends it back. But there's no way for the server to, or there was no way for the server to just send the data to you. So this is how we typically build applications, Ajax style. If you want to do some real-time stuff, one of the solutions that you can use is just polling. So you can just send a request to the server asking, hey, is there any new stuff there? Nope. Hey, is there any new stuff now? Nope. Hey, how about now? Is there anything new? Nope. It's a little bit like when you drive and if you have kids. Those of you who have kids. Are we there yet? No. Are we there yet? No. Are we there yet? No. So it just keeps on going. So it works. You can kind of catch new things that appear on the server, and then you can display them back to your user. But obviously, there's a lot of traffic going on for absolutely nothing. I mean, there's a lot of those requests that will probably end up doing nothing. So you can resort to long polling as well, which is a little bit like the polling, but rather than just responding right away, you just have your server wait to give an answer until it either has something or that the actual request times out. And then you just trigger a new connection. So it's a little bit like, hey, server, do you have anything? Thank you. So it takes a while, and then it sends you the data back, and you can treat it. But there is hope. We can build something in real time, or an application that has real-time data. And especially now, it's all about dashboards and so on, and real-time data. So you can use WebSockets. WebSockets, like I said, it's a full duplex protocol. So basically, it lets you do communications between the server and the client. So in this case, you have a server, and it just pushes data to your client without the client requesting it. And you also have the client that can send data back to the server, and you can have both happening at the same time, and so on. You might have heard about server-side events as well. It's very popular right now. A lot of people are starting to use it. So it's essentially just a server that sends data back to your client. It has pros and cons, but if you want bidirectional communication, you will essentially need to use WebSocket instead of a server-side event because, as the name mentions, it's a server-side protocol only. So it's the server that can send data to your clients. All right. Any pros and cons about it? Well, first of all, you have to know that you should really use it. I mean, I don't understand why we don't see more WebSockets in place right now. It gives such a better user experience. The user can feel that something is going on at any given time, and there's no need for him to actually request for information. The information just comes back to him. So definitely, we should all be using it. So let's start with some of the pros. Like I said, bidirectional data transfers. So the server can now send data to the clients. I cannot put enough emphasis on that. It is so cool when you can do that. So bidirectional data transfers, it's super fast. It reduces bandwidth as opposed to all the requests that I was showing earlier, when you're just asking for new data, but there's nothing, so you have all those requests going on. There's also once the communication is established or the tunnel is started, you don't have to do handshakes or anything, so data just comes in and out. It detects connection and disconnection as well, so it helps you to do stuff like presence. So if you have, Trello, for example, you can see a little green dot if the other user is connected at the same time, and so on. So that it uses the connection and disconnection features of WebSockets in order to provide the presence data. Some of the cons, well, you lose the caching capabilities, obviously, that you have with regular HTTP requests. And you might have to do some architectural changes in your application. So yeah, you might have to change a little bit of things and to tweak stuff. So rather than having, like I said, a user interaction which will trigger an event, it's all an event-based system, and you will have to listen for server events, essentially. So it's a little bit of a change in how you build your application, but once you get it, it's really, really easy to use and really nice to use. So are there any examples out there in the wild? Yes, of course there are. So any application, essentially, that requires a synchronization between all the users that are using the application at the same time, or some of them are using WebSockets, they all should, in my opinion, use WebSockets. So stuff like Trello makes it really easy to cooperate on documents together. Live feeds, so if you want to put a live feed, say of Twitter on your website, something like that, so you can push data to the users that are actually looking at your page or currently looking at your page. I'll show a little demo of that as well in a few minutes. Anything that is a long process that takes a long time on the server should be using WebSocket, in my opinion, again. Such an example, I've used it in an application that we've built for a customer not so long ago. And it was reading through a bunch of files, a very large data set. It took a very long time in order to read all of those files. And by a long time, I mean like hours. So we wanted a way to tell the users that something was still going on. So it was using it, there was a web page on as a front end. And what I did is that I knew the fixed number of files that I had to go through. And then I just calculated a percentage. And I would just, whenever a file was done, I would just send a new percentage of like how close it was to completion to the client. So whenever if there was somebody connected, he could see right away in real time how far the process was going on. Also, when the process was done, I would just push back all the data to the clients that were still connected if they really wanted to wait for hours looking at the screen. So that's a very good usage as well of WebSockets. Multiplayer HTML5 games. We saw an example yesterday by Josh somewhere, can't find him. But yeah, so you can build HTML games, multiplayer games, and people can in real time play the same game, and the data is shared between all the people. Chat clients, stuff like Slack. We've all used Slack. Most of us did, at least. So it uses some sort of WebSocket there. At my current employer, we also built a clone of Slack just for fun. So essentially, yeah, you can chat. It's also the hello world of WebSockets. So I'll go through an example as well. So how do we use it? Well, essentially, it's very easy. It's supported by most modern browsers. So you just basically just create a new connection. So new WebSocket with the URL, and you're good to go. There's a few events that are related to that, so all of that is on the client side, of course. So you've got the on-open and on-close connection, or for the connection, which are self-explanatory, and you have the on-message. So whenever a message is received, so that the server pushes a message to the clients, you can get the message, and you can display the data to the users. So sending data to the server, fairly easy as well. It's just a matter of using the send method. So connection.send, you can send strings, very easy. You can send array buffers, also fairly straightforward. You can send blobs, like files, for example, to the server. And you cannot send JSON objects. Not sure why, but it's not possible. But obviously, it's very easy to go around that by stringifying your JSON object, and on the server, you parse it. You have to make sure that you parse an actual JSON object on the server if you don't want some errors or some weird behaviors, but it's still fairly easy to do. So getting started, there's a few different solutions out there. PubNub is a cloud-based solution, and we've seen examples of it yesterday. So it's a cloud-based solution, so you can just register to some channels or events, and then you can just listen for data that is sent back from the server. It also has a bunch of nice features like history and stuff like that. I think there's also security involved there. So it's kind of useful. If you just want to do real-time communication, share stuff, or if you're into the IoT and building things where you need to communicate between multiple devices and you don't want to bother with the scalability of your servers and stuff like that, it's a very nice solution. There's also Ratchet, which I've used in PHP. As I said, I was a PHP developer before. Sorry about that. So Ratchet works really well, very easy to use. So it's a nice solution. Jetty, for those of you who are Java developers, I don't know why you would do such a thing, but anyways, it's there. But we're in the Node conference, so we're all interested in the Node solution, which is socket.io. It's a great implementation, very, very easy to use. And you can immediately start using WebSockets, and I'll show you how easy it is. So you have the server and client-side implementations that come right out of the box, and I'll show you how it works. It falls back to long polling if necessary. So say you have to build an application for I9, poor you guys. But if you really, really need to, it takes care of that as well. It adds a bunch of features like heartbeats and timeouts and disconnection support and a bunch of different things that all come for free out of the box. It also has support for sending and receiving JSON objects, which I said was not possible, but Socket.io has it built in, so you can use it with JSON. It's super easy to use. So here's a quick example. So like I said, we'll go very quickly through a little chat client. So essentially what you see here is that it's a normal HTML page. We have an input box, a send button, and a text area. And then we have this script tag right there, socket.io/socket.io.js, which is served automatically when you include Socket.io on your server. So you got this file, and once you have it, then you just instantiate or create a new variable for your WebSocket. And in this example, whenever there's a click on the button, I just emit a message from client. So I just pick a name for the event or the channel, and I just send some data to that specific channel. And whenever message from server event is triggered from the server, I just append it to the text area. So very, very simple stuff, and you basically have a chat client right there. Not a pretty one, but still. Server side, some boilerplate stuff, just a regular Express server. It serves static files, and we use it. We require the Socket.io, and we pass it the server as an argument, and basically all the work is done. Once that is done, I just listen for a new connection, and then I set, I set all my listeners. So I have socket on message from client, and I just socket.broadcast. So to all the clients that are connected, I just send back the message. And that's the server side for a chat client. So message comes into the server, and it broadcasts to all the clients connected. All right, so let's look at some actual code and some live demos. So if you want to follow, you can try nodepdx.javascript.everything.com. I'm not sure if it's big enough. And you should see all my demos here. So the internet connection was so-so. So I've pushed everything to Heroku yesterday. I'm not sure how reliable it is. It used to work better on my own machine, but let's give it a try still. So for the first demo, and I'll push all of that, all of the code onto my GitHub. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, I had the link, but I'll show you that again. I'll share the code as well, so you have all the examples. So what I do here, I'll just open up the server. OK, so this is the important part, or the fun part. So whenever there's a connection and some event is triggered, I should have taken James' example of having something a little bit more meaningful, but sorry about that. I didn't want to change my code yesterday. So whenever some event is detected or has been triggered, and we receive some data, we just log the data in the console. Now, if we look at the client here has a little counter. And whenever we click on the button, we just send the value of that counter to the server, and we increment it. So something very, very simple. Let's take a quick look at what it looks like. All right, seems to be working. OK, so it looks like some people are clicking on the button, at least one. So we see the counter increasing. Oops. Let me just make sure we can show both windows at the same time. OK, so we have the counter increasing. If I start booking the server as well, you'll see my counter going up. And somebody else just connected. So now you see a bunch of random numbers. So what we're doing here is that we have a counter on the client, and we're sending that value to the server. Completely useless. And no need for WebSockets for that. But I just wanted to show you how to send information to the server. So that's the first part. Let's look at an example that is a little bit more meaningful now. Because obviously that could have been achieved with a simple GET request or a simple POST request, so just increasing the counter. So we'll make this a little bit more interactive. We'll go to the next next example. So what I did here, I'm using the same code. But whenever I receive some data on some event, so the stuff that we used to log in the last demo or the last previous example, I'll also emit a server count updated event from the server with the server count. The server count is a variable that is set on the server, and that counts the actual number of clicks throughout the whole application for all the clients that are connected. So now we're starting to see something a little bit more interactive. If we look at the client, so I've added the server count updated event. So I've had it on the server side. Now on the client, I listen for this event. And whenever it gets sorry, little guy, do you have something to say? Okay. Okay, sorry. So server count, and we just update it's just a span tag. So we update it with the value that comes back from the server. So let's give this one a try, and I don't actually need this, and it's actually open. So as you can see, the counter at the end right there, or at the bottom right there, is actually increasing, so there's people clicking on the button frantically. If I poke on it as well, it'll increase. So there you have it, a very, very simple way to update and push data to your servers. Seems fairly reliable right now. All right, let's get a few people to click on it. And when I'll say stop, everybody stops, so we'll see how fast it actually reacts. So please, everybody, click, 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 click. Faster. All right, we're getting there. OK, 1, 2, 3, stop. So you see, it's kind of fast enough. So it just took a few milliseconds, and we've seen it stop. I blame some people that were still on the progress of putting the button. So it's almost instant, so it goes really, really fast. All right, I have a third demo for you. Okay. So like I said, the chat applications are the hello world of WebSockets. So if you want to play with it and to start messing around with WebSockets, is definitely the application that type of application that you'll want to build. So I gave you a small example here, and I kind of showed it very quickly in the slides before. So what I do here is that whenever the new chat line from client event is triggered, I just broadcast to all the connected clients. Just for fun, I've also appended a timestamp to the data that I'll be sending to the clients. So I'm actually I'm taking data from the clients, I transform it a little bit by appending a timestamp, and then I just serve that back to all of the connected clients. Now in this one, there's a bunch of fancy stuff, but just the text for the enter button and stuff like that. The important part is right here, and you'll notice that I switched to jQuery. I don't know why. So whenever the send chat line button is clicked, we emit to the socket. We trigger that new chat line from client event, and we send it the message as well as the nickname. All right, let's have a quick look at the demo. Once again, I'm hoping that people will join because it can get pretty boring in there if I'm alone. All right. So if we send data, it will be displayed. I'm hoping somebody else will join soon. There we go. So we got James. Hi, James. It usually takes about 2 or 3 minutes before somebody posts an emoticon of a turd or something. So it should happen really, really fast. And last time I gave this presentation, there was a smart ass that decided to send a script and an alert, and it broke my whole demo. But you can try it, I fixed that. And there we have it. So we have a full chat room, fully functional. I can just go ahead, sell that, and make a lot of profit now, as you can see. So what I wanted to show you is that how easy it is to actually use WebSockets and to implement them on your web pages, especially when you're using Socket.io. So there's a last demo that I wanted to show you. I've talked about it a little bit earlier, or I said that I would show a quick demo. In this one, what I'm trying to do is, and I want to show you how actually how fast it can respond and process the data. So what I'm doing here is that I listened on Twitter. And hey, did you know that it's National Selfie Day today? So it's pretty trending right now. So I'll be following that tag. And whenever we detect a new tweet, and you can take a look at the code later on to see how I listen to Twitter. That's not the point here. So whenever there's a new tweet that is detected, I push it to the connected clients. I guess you could also go on twitter.com, but it's pretty much cooler on this one. And I do essentially the same thing here. So whenever there's, oops, not that one. Okay, well, whenever there's a tweet that gets connected, it's essentially the same code once again. So for this one, I can actually run it locally. There you go. So we have it. So every tweet that comes in, you actually see it on the screen. It goes really fast. And you'll actually see that the counter from twitter.com is actually not increasing as fast. So I could definitely sell that to Twitter. So if there's anyone from Twitter in the room, I could use a job. So yeah, and let's try to see how fast it takes for me to actually tweet something. And then let's try to see it on the screen. Okay, because it's National Selfie Day, right? I'll take a selfie. All right, everybody say hi. No, wrong camera. All right, there it is. Okay, everybody say hi. All right, quality's not that good. Somebody wasn't smiling as well. All right, did we, oh, it went, see? All right, so that's how it works. Yeah, what I really wanted to do is to do the Node PDX and track that one instead. Sorry about that. Then there might be a better chance that it actually goes on. So if anybody wants to tweet something to Node PDX in the next few seconds, we'll see it there, but I'll just leave it at that. Oh, I totally forgot something. Just because it seemed like everybody was putting pictures of cats yesterday, I've added this one yesterday. It seems like a recurring theme, especially with that one there. So anyways, that was supposed to go before demos. Yeah. Yeah. So that's it for me. I'm hoping that you've all learned a little bit about WebSockets and that you've learned how cool they are and how easy to implement they are. And I hope that you will start using them into your software and try to suggest that to customers. So like I said, there's so many people that want real-time data right now. They want stuff to appear like immediately. We have those huge dashboards. We have connected things that, and we need to push data to those things, and we need to receive data from it, and so on. And it makes it really, really easy to do that in real time. So that's it for me. Thank you very much for being there.